It's the afternoon of August 14 and I am on the Marble Canyon Trail. I was gonna do the paint pots to Marble Canyon, but when I got to the parking lot it was packed, and not only that, there's a huge tour bus here, so I'm gonna avoid the crowds at paint pots and do the Marble Canyon first. But I do promise I will show you them both. Look at these bridges we have to cross, or I have to cross. Marble Canyon is 2.7 kilometers one way, and Paint Pots is 2.2 kilometers. So this will be more of a good exercise for me this time. And again, it's a 40-meter elevation gain, so not too bad. I guess that's why the crowds come, because it's not too strenuous. It's the time of year for the purple flowers. Lots of aster and vetch and fireweed. This is spectacular. This is very interesting. Look at all these layers. I guess there's quite a few fossils in this park. Aha! Here is Canada's infamous Adirondack Red Chairs. They are supposedly placed in strategic places all across Canada's national parks where there's the best view. So let's turn around and see its view. Not bad. Gorgeous. I'm staying at the Marble Canyon Campground tonight, and this trail you could go from camp. But this year, 2019, it's closed due to construction. So you have to start from the Paint Pots Trail. And it doesn't seem like very many people are enthused about doing that, because I've had the trail almost all to myself. It has been absolutely wonderful. You know, I've been through this national park probably more than a dozen times in my life, and I am ashamed to say that this is the first time that I've ever stopped and explored it, really. I've never camped in it before. That is so shameful. It is just spectacular. I do remember as a kid, though, we were traveling with just my mom, and she stopped at this Paint Pots parking lot. And we stretched our legs and ran around, I guess, for a bit. And when we came back to the car, we found that it had been broken into, and my mom's purse, like they stole some cash out of her wallet. They didn't take the whole wallet or her purse, just some cash. But it was enough to hurt us and shake us up, that's for sure. So that really left an impression on me as a kid, how vulnerable we can be. And to hide your purses. I guess lightning struck this forest and burned massive amounts around here in 2003, but it sure makes for a unique landscape now. Yesterday was a pretty tough day for me. I had to take my auntie and put her in a nursing home, and it was so heartbreaking for me to leave her there. unfortunately, yeah, the time came for us to do that. She was living with my mom and I for 3.5 months, but we thought we could help her. We thought we could make her better, but it just wasn't working out. And not to degrade her or belittle her, I don't know if that's the word, shame her, I guess. I won't go into the details of what happened, but let's just say that she has memory loss. I think dementia and senility are such harsh words. But yeah, she suffered from memory loss and she was not getting better. She's had a cat for years and years and she's been so attached to him. And she always says, I am not going without my cat. My cat has to come with me. And of course, this facility won't let cats, or any facility won't let cats, won't let patients have their animals. So, oh, I was so heartbroken to have to do that to her. But surprisingly, the very day she took it okay. The other sad part is that she has to, well, it's in a place that's 90 minutes away from where we live. It's kind of a transition until a spot opens up in my town for her to come back to. Anyway, that's really difficult. Do you think you're gonna like it here, Auntie?
I think so.
Oh, good. Yeah. Yay.
The guy was playing different tunes, some 50 to old times.
Some old time tunes for you?
Yeah.
Oh, neat.
Let the rest of the world go by, or all that sort of that.
Oh, you know those songs?
Yeah, a few of them, a couple, I guess.
Good for you.
Yeah. So.
I think you're gonna do good here.
Yeah. Well, how long am I going to be here?
A few weeks.
Oh, okay.
So, not too bad.
Not forever.
No.
Oh, okay.
No. So I'm gonna say goodbye.
Yeah, goodbye. Thank you for being here.
Gonna miss you.
Yeah, well.
But you're in good hands here.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. They say out of the mouths of babes, but I say out of the mouths of the elderly come some pretty cute things. My aunt goes, why do people have to die? And then she goes, well, I guess the world would have to get larger if they didn't. So she is the only one that has really suffered from this memory loss on both sides of the family. And so I'm thinking to myself, what can I do to prevent this? I do not want this happening to me, even though I think I come from pretty good genes. Oh, it's so scary. She's exercised all her life, gone for walks, and exercised her brain. She loves to do crosswords and puzzle books, and she used to cross stitch, and she was a vegetarian for most of her life. So she did all the right things. So why did it hit her like that? It seems so random who it hits and who it picks. So I thought to myself, what does the Bible say about the mind? So I learned some very interesting things that I would like to share with you. In Romans 12:2, it says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And Proverbs 23 verse 7 says, you become what you think. Interesting. Now, I don't know my auntie well enough to know what her thoughts are, so we're going to take it away from her and just generalize it from now on. But obviously, our thoughts are very important. It's not what happens to us that affects us. It's how we react to what happens to us. What our mindset is on the things that happen to us. And that's certainly something that I need to work on. I cannot be so stressed if things don't go my way or if things are so uncertain in my life. I think faith gives us a strong mind. I'm on the Marble Canyon Trail. And now I'm officially on the Paint Pots Trail. How would you like to play in this muck? Indigenous peoples attach great importance to the red earth or ochre found on the ground in this area. Different groups have been traveling to this sacred place for thousands of years to collect the ochre. It has been used for painting bodies, teepees, clothing, and horses, as well as for rock paintings. In the early 1900s, the ochre was commercially mined for use as pigment in paint. Some of the pieces of equipment remain along the trail. After Kootenay National Park was established in 1920, mining was gradually phased out to protect the landscape. The 3 pots or pools are formed by the accumulation of iron oxide around the outlet of 3 cold mineral springs. The brain can be divided into 4 parts. So there's the frontal lobe, then the limbic system, the cerebellum, and the brain stem. And this is very important to remember. The frontal lobe is where our thoughts come from. The limbic system is our emotional brain. The cerebellum is like our fight or flight response. And then the brain stem is where we get our breathing from. So let's put this all together now and make sense of what I just told you. It is really cool. In Matthew, Jesus quotes a verse from Deuteronomy, and he says, "And you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind." And in Deuteronomy, it adds the word, "and with all your strength." So in other words, we are supposed to love God with our whole brain. And I think that will really help our brain. Did you know that our brain has 100 billion cells in it? And each of those cells has 20,000 roots coming from it. And those are the electrical impulse conduction pathway things. With each cell, 20,000. And so did you also know that we only use 5% of our brain? 5%. That's phenomenal. That's why when we get to heaven, we will be learning for eternity because we have so much more of our brain to fill up. Honestly, God is amazing how He made us. So to summarize this all up as best I can, you become what you think, essentially. When you think the same thoughts, you develop a pathway in your brain. And so that's why Romans 12:2 is so important, because you can renew your mind by thinking different thoughts, by consciously making an effort to think different thoughts. So that's really helpful for me and encouraging. So it's worth a try anyway. Eat right, exercise, utilize your brain, and think good thoughts. That's surely gotta help. And pray too. That's my recommendation. So the healing hiker rating for these trails today is a 4.7 out of 5. They're obviously spectacular trails. However, they are way too crowded for my liking. Thankfully, I'm doing the paint pots in the evening and so haven't come across near as many as when I first started out. And the Marble Canyon Trail was just providential that there was construction going on. Otherwise, I'm sure it would have been way more crowded. However, very spectacular. And I'm so glad I got to do this today. Have you had any family members that you have had to put in nursing homes that break your heart? Tell me about it, if you will. How you have coped with it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next epic excursion. Assalamu alaikum, shalom, peace. I'm staying at the Marble Canyon Campground tonight, and you can access... Oh, sheesh. Honestly. Oh, dear me. This thing is getting a beating.